You ever find yourself in a conversation with someone older than you and like you guys both have a similar experience, like you guys both grew up going to school, you guys both have like had a job, like played sports, whatever. Like you have similar experiences with parts of life doing similar things, but the few differences in it that like I feel are really like taken for not taken for granted, like underestimated by people older than you is like the difference in time. And it really stood out to me personally when like I had a conversation with like someone older than me, and they were talking like they 100% for sure were sure of like something about my life being a certain way, and that like I'd feel the same way as them, while I was like certainly not at all thinking about that. And like the example was like school. Like I like other people am not at all a fan of school. Like school is, I don't even really have to say it, but I will for the sake of saying it. Oh, that was a terrible move, and they did not capitalize on that. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I'm catching a little bit of like throat issues. But yeah, school sucks, like, period. So, you know, but I don't really know what it was like well, it obviously probably wasn't that bad for people older. Like their experience of school versus our experience of school is like completely different. And it has like a lot to do with the time they were living in and stuff. And like the messages that were being like pushed out around that time. Like they usually kind of make the mistake of like assuming that even though some time has passed, that like things like school and like other similar experiences and like things that we've experienced are about the same, when they like really aren't. Because while there's like still schools and stuff, the mentality and like mindset that's like pushed around this time
A
is like
solid start lost steam in the
not
middle
at
game.
all
Let's
equivalent.
review with an eye towards accuracy.
I'm supposed to be using an analogy, actually. Yeah, let's get into the analogy part. Yeah, I thought of a pretty interesting one, which is like a car, like a train car. You have this really long train, and from the outside, the train looks about the same. Maybe I should start the video from this. Yeah. We'll start the video from this, and then I'll just like get into the other stuff. Yeah, you guys probably didn't need to know about all the stuttering stuff that I was yapping about before. We're starting with the train car analogy now. So you have this really long train. On the outside, it looks about the same, like the train is whatever color you're imagining. It could be red, it could be blue, brown, you know. On the outside, it looks about the same, but on the inside, it is like completely different. And the people who enter the train don't exactly get how different it is for each person, because they're only really seeing the exterior of the rest of the train, and they only know the interior of the train car that they're entering. So you have at the head of the train, you have the older people, and like the list goes down, the younger they get, and the younger people are going all the way down to the back. Now at the head of the train, you have the starting point. Honestly, this analogy isn't gonna be completely accurate. There might be some things that are like different from trains, but we're gonna assume that trains are built from the head. And yeah, from the head of the train, you have all the structure and clear intention. Like they started with an idea that they wanted to execute. So they like did it all with great intention and like depth. So there's a lot of structure and there's a lot of care put into the making of, excuse me, the starting point of the train. But like the farther down you go with the train, the less of that intention is like added on. Like you have them sort of trying to just copy and paste that effort in parts of like the train that they had at the start without all the care like following with the copy and paste structure, which kind of just allows for some decaying and like easier deterioration of parts of the train that probably wouldn't happen if like they were putting as much care into the process as they like originally did with the starting points of the train. And like, oh, okay, I need to take a breather for a second. Yeah, what I'm trying to go with this is well, hold on. Okay. I found what I was trying to say. Yeah. So going back to the people, they don't really like know 100% about that and about like how different the train cars are. Like the people who are older, like the older people, they've had more experience with riding trains. They probably rode like a ton of trains in their life. They know a good train when they see it. They know a bad train when they see it. But the people who are younger, like they've barely even like drawn or drove around cars or like traveled that much on their own, excuse me. So they can't exactly tell like what exactly a good train or a bad train would look like. So they could be like somewhat skeptical of certain things, but they wouldn't really understand the quality and like depth behind those things and how much it should be. So like a lot of things end up sliding that probably shouldn't slide in some places. And that's kind of where the misunderstandings kind of start. Like the trains for the older people, the older people's trains are fine. Like they got it stable. They've oh, excuse me. Sorry. I was just kind of caught by surprise that they just resigned like that. But yeah, I cut this part of the footage out. Like I've been having like throat issues recently. So like that's why my voice sounds like this. But yeah. Anyway, the older people like don't exactly get that the train car for the younger people is less structured and decaying, like more prone to decaying than their own train car. They've only really seen the outside of the younger people's car. So they're assuming that it's more or less the same as theirs. Which while the formatting looks about the same, it is not the same in terms of like structure and like the what's the I think I'm trying to think of another word than structure. It's like the foundation, yeah. The foundation is not as strong as it is in their train car compared to the younger people's train car. It is more likely to fall apart, and like it's easier for it to fall apart comparatively. And there is less, like, there's just less like clarity. Like there's always some kind of mess or issue with like the car for some reason for it to go under maintenance and like for it to be tested. Oh, I should have took that Bishop compared to like the cleaner like first upper cars where like the older people are. And another thing about it is like it seems like it's one big train connected, but at this point it's more or less the chain that's connecting the cars are even rusting to the point that like some of these cars are starting to just be disconnected. Like it looks like one big train car, but it feels like there's a disconnect in some of them. I don't know at which point and like what time they started separating, but it more or less is kind of separated.